The 1-minute challenge that I'll be teaching today is really the culmination of all of the different things in acting right. So it really uses the focus and the mind, body, voice control that's introduced in the actor's toolbox. And it also uses the concentration and focus that's inspired by the concentration circle. And then it's really going to put that collaboration and team building to use that we initially learned in the cooperation challenge. So that's everything you saw in the first lesson. Now we're taking that and the students are applying it to what we call the 1-minute challenge, which uses the art form of tableau, which is simply a frozen staged picture. The 1-minute challenge consists of 3 different parts: think, share, plan. The first piece is students are given a challenge or a question and they have to think on their own. What am I going to create? How can I create an image that represents the answer to this question? So normally when we introduce the 1-minute challenge, we give it to them with a very concrete example or question. So students have anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds to think in their own minds, what is the answer to this question? What do I think? They cross their arms over their chest when they believe that they have the answer. It's a way of just pulling it in close to their heart, we always say. So after they've had an opportunity to think on their own, then they unfold their arms and it's their chance to share with the group. And there's no back and forth conversation at this point. It's really the students' opportunity to just be heard without having students share back what they think about their idea. Finally, the third step is to plan. And there's 3 different sections of the plan. The very first piece is to think, what are we going to choose as a group? We have 4 or 5 different ideas here. What are we going to choose? We might need to compromise. We're not always going to get our way. The second part is to think, what are the different parts we need to represent this idea in a tableau? And third, we think, what parts will each of us play? So they assign roles. Finally, once all of that is complete, they get up on their feet and they get to create. With this group, they had actually practiced it before with their teacher, and so we decided to dive into another piece of the 1-minute challenge, which is called putting Tableau to the test. And so now they're using practice test questions that could either be created by the teacher, it could be something you pull from the FSA or any other state standardized test, it could be from a benchmark test. And what we did for language arts is the students actually got to read a piece from a text. In this case, we gave them an example from Bridge to Terabithia, and the second piece was Secret Garden. And then they had questions that they had to problem solve and answer as a group. So the steps were very similar. First, the students read the piece, then they had to think, what is the answer to this question? How would I answer it if I were taking this test on my own? Then they went on to sharing. Well, this is what I think, okay? And this is before you give them the multiple choice answers, because you really want them to be able to look at a test question, figure out what it's asking, and then formulate that answer in their own mind rather than just choosing from a bank of answers. You really want them to be able to articulate what they believe the answer is on their own. And then they got to plan what they could create that would represent that answer. And they get up on their feet once they've decided who's gonna play what, and they present that to the group. After that's all done, the students are presented with the multiple choice questions. Now, does your answer match one of the possible answers given on the test? Or do you have to revise your image and your answer to match one of the choices provided? So now the kids are really thinking, did I make a mistake here? I need to look back in the text and find evidence that will support what I was thinking. And so really gathering that text evidence to support whether they think it's A, B, C, or D. It's a fun way to enliven the classroom and still cover all those standards that you have to cover and all the testing vocabulary that you have to go over. And so then the students have a whiteboard, they write down what answer they think it is. They can write the letter with the full answer of the test question, and they have that close by their tableau. They present their revised tableau to the group, and then there might be a discussion, because if there are some groups that think it's C and some groups that think it's A, this is where your accountable talk comes into play. So you say, well, you need to back up your answer with that evidence from the text. Get together with your group, talk about why you think it's A so strongly. What evidence do you have from the text that supports that answer? and same to the other group. And then you have students challenging and defending their group's answer based on the evidence in the test. So you've got lots of different things going on here. After they've come to a decision about which answer is correct, they get to revise that tableau one more time and really refine it so that it's apparent which option they're going with, and other students get to take a look at those tableaus and just give some feedback on what they see and how it represents the answer that they've chosen.